Purpose. What is it? What does it mean to you? What does it mean to me? And what does it mean to our guest? Today, we have one of our authors coming up. She's going to be talking about her purpose, finding her purpose. And I'd like to welcome to the stage Niki Hall. Niki, it's so great to see you. And I'm excited to talk about this topic, purpose, because this is something that I didn't even discover that I had a purpose until I was about 55 or so. So let's dive right in, Niki. Why don't you share with us, first of all, what does purpose mean to you? And what was it about this book that made you decide to join us with it?
Well, it's a twofold answer there. Like the first thing that I really agree with is a Bob Proctor quote that's right in the beginning of When I Wrote. And he says, I think you determine what your purpose is. He says, I don't think you determine what your purpose is. I think you discover what your purpose is, which is a big deal, right? Like you think you know what your purpose is, but later as you grow through life, you find the ultimate purpose for yourself. So I wanted to share that. And I wanted to share that I had an aptitude at the beginning of my life, but because I'm not, the aptitude wasn't in sports or it wasn't in music, um, you don't get to become a protege of where you show your aptitude, not to mention self-help and self-actualization really wasn't around that strong when I was a kid.
And so thank you for that. I love that because you mentioned self-actualization or self aptitude. Like, how did you discover let's start. What is your purpose? Do you know what it is? And if
I
you do,
do.
share it.
I
Like,
do.
awesome. Well, share it with us.
Finally. I just discovered it really, but I had it all along. My purpose is to share my wisdom, my knowledge, what I know, who I am. And that is, I always wanted to know how you think. Like, I wanted to go up to that rich person's door where that mansion is. I wanted to knock on his door and say, okay, how did you do it? Tell me. But I found that if I was going to ask those questions, those people told you, but they didn't tell you mindset. They didn't really get, I really had to read between the lines. And when you live in a certain environment, you can't read between the lines. So that's where I went. Every time somebody talked to me, it's like, what does it mean? What does it mean? Drove my teachers nuts.
Kind of like a 4-year-old, right? Because when you're 4 years old, we have this wonderment about us, and we can carry that into our adulthood, which is what I've done more recently. Just kind of like started bringing that wonderment about life and people into my adult world. That it's really opened up doors for me of discovering different things, meeting new people, and it's through that curiosity that for me it just keeps me moving forward. And so have you ever actually knocked on the door of a multi-millionaire mansion and asked those questions?
I didn't, but I have asked, I did run into like very successful people, and I have asked them very pointed questions, questions I thought I had no business asking.
You want to give us an example of one? Can you remember one off the top of your head?
How'd you make your first $1 million?
What'd they
I
say?
didn't, I didn't think that was like, I thought that was a very personal question. Oh, they want to answer you. People like that always want to answer you. So they told me exactly how they did it, and they shared information. They were willing to give insight, and I thought, oh, this is getting easier.
Yeah, that's the circle that I've found myself in is a bunch of those people who are successful millionaires and billionaires, and they
Yes.
do freely give information. If we're willing to ask. A lot of us are too scared to ask, but if we're willing to just ask them, and then if we can implement something that they tell us, then they'll keep on giving us more information. But a lot of
Yes.
times, when you make it to that level, they want to share the information, but they want you to take the action. Because if you don't take action, then you're kind of, if you think about it, wasting their time. And so I love that you've asked people those questions, And for you, you thought they were personal. So what has that done for you? Like here you thought that was a personal question. And now you learned that even though for you it was a personal question you asked, they answered. What has that done for you as far as your own curiosity?
Well, first, I'm a very private person, so I thought I was really infringing. Two, I'm brought up Catholic, so I have a sense of shame or guilt all the time. So I brought that into into my questions, into my being, into my presence when I was there. And after you ask it a few times, it doesn't take long, maybe two or three times, and the person that answers you is so genuine, is so upfront, and it really seems pleased to be able to share his wisdom or her wisdom. Um, it gave me, it got rid of the shame that my religion or my lifestyle imposed on me. That was
Mm.
huge.
Yeah, that is huge because it carries not only from like that one particular like instance or that the particular type of question, but it goes across your whole life, right? I mean, that's has that
Yes.
helped to maybe not fully eliminate, but to lessen the amount of shame that you have carried around with you for years?
It totally obliterated it. By the third time I asked the question, the first time I asked the question, like I was ready for rejection or for whatever my imagination was thinking, which
Right.
didn't exist at all. So I thought, oh, that's okay. And then the second time I went in bigger, harder, and I asked to fit in, to be part of this that I thought I had no place being. And this guy said, yeah, well, yeah, and he started telling me everything. And as he told me that, parts of my shame, that was the thing that I held on to in my character. Some people hold embarrassment, some people hold a short falling sense. For me, it was shame. I could start feeling it all like kind of dwindling down. And by the time I got to the third person and asked the questions that I had to ask, it was gone. It was gone. That
Wow.
last person, yeah, he just affirmed it, and all of it is gone. Like, I don't feel ashamed that I didn't know
Mm. Wow,
at
that's
all.
big. That's big. Because I think a lot of us carry around, shame in different ways, and then we carry around this thought that we should know certain things, and then we get embarrassed to ask because we don't know.
Exactly.
And right, there's so many different elements that go into just asking advice, asking for help, and if we
Yes.
can get rid of those, that how much we don't know, like how many
Yeah.
doors are
Yeah.
opened and things like that.
Exactly.
So yeah, so we're
And
talking about the oh, go ahead.
not only that, but it keeps you on that perpetual wheel of going, like it's a hamster wheel, and you stay in the same place. You don't, you get that kind of thing that you just talked about doesn't allow you to move forward and grow. It just keeps you there, and then you have to repeat, repeat, repeat till you get it.
Yeah, and that's no fun, right?
Yeah, who wants to
Yeah,
do that?
exactly. It's like the sooner we can accept and admit, the sooner we can move on. Because really that's what it's about. It's not about them at all. It wasn't that situation that you're talking about, the shame there in relation to asking them a private question. That was
Yes,
your issue, not theirs.
yes,
Because they were
absolutely.
open to answering because you asked, but you
Yeah,
held on to that. Oh, maybe I shouldn't ask this question because it's kind of personal. But that's on you, because to you it's personal, but to them it's not.
yes,
And I find that for me myself, the more successful I become, the more willing I am or open I am to sharing how I got to the success, because I don't want you to have to stumble like I did. I want you to be able to have a
yes.
straight shot to that success. And like you mentioned, like, they don't talk about like the mindset that we have to go through in order to get there.
Mhm.
So how did you
Yes,
yourself, so by the way, you're very fortunate that it only took three questions or three people to get there. For me, I spent a whole year every single day, 365 days in a row, breaking through fears to move forward. So for you, Three
Yeah.
questions. I mean, that's amazing. That's amazing.
I
But
I
how,
put all of me. I put all of me in that. Like I was on a platter. Like you could either destroy me or you could be good to me. Like I put the whole thing out there. You took not bites and pieces. That's a sensible path that you took.
yeah. Well, how much has your life changed since you had that realization that shame is gone?
Well, it allowed me to get to my purpose, I think, faster, much faster. And if I didn't, I'm not sure that I'd be able to find my actual real purpose.
Mm. Wow, that's a big deal. So
Yeah.
we're talking about the book Finding Your Purpose, Living on Purpose Rather Than on Accident. We're with one of the authors, Niki Hall. And Niki, your chapter is called Walk with Me. Why don't you share with us like what your chapter is about and how you came up with that title?
What, in a nutshell, it's meant to take you in a little bit of a circle because when I was very, very young, I learned that I can talk to people and people had some kind of trust in me, or I fired something off in them that allowed an adult to tell a child things they never would. So I thought, well, this is cool. I'm going to keep that as part of me. So I kept doing that and doing that. But I had to go to school. I wanted to go get married. I wanted children. I wanted to marry my prince, my perfect man. And I found all of that was very purposeful and very meaningful and had a lot of depth. And I tried to balance who I was in that, which is a writer. And then now that I'm my age and now that I found my purpose is actually mindset. What I was doing on the couch as a child, I'm doing now as a grown up with others.
And then inviting them to walk with you on the journey.
Yes, absolutely.
I
Like,
love
as you
that.
know, Linda, the more you give, like if I ask you, hey, Linda, how'd you do that? And you poured all that knowledge out to me, you gain a lot more.
Yeah, I sometimes have thought that I get more when I give than the
Exactly.
person receiving. And I thought, there were times that I thought, oh, that's a little self-serving because I'm getting more out of it. But the reality is that, maybe they got something, maybe they didn't, but I did need to
Mhm.
give in order to be able to, maybe I'm that person that was the catalyst that helped them to make a movement. I don't know. I don't know, but I get
Yeah.
so much when I give. Like, it feels so good. Like I've always been a giving person. And so it does feel good to give. That's for sure. That's for sure. So again, we're talking about the book, Finding Your Purpose. You can get your copy at actiontakerspublishing.com/purpose. You'll find over there a bunch of free gifts from our authors as well. And you can connect with Niki on Facebook. She's Niki.hall.148, Niki, Niki.hall.148 on Facebook. And Niki, why don't you share with us, like, what's one thing that you would like to see the readers take away from reading this book, Finding Your Purpose?
Okay, I'm gonna try to make this as quick as possible, but I'm not. I talk a lot. When I was doing the research for this to try and stay linear and trying to stay on a specific point, I was writing and writing and writing, and then all of a sudden, it hit me that the the most fundamental point wasn't there, and that is before and for you to get to your higher purpose, for your ultimate purpose, you have to stay clued into your own higher power and your your higher power that you listen to outside of yourself. Like you have to tune your own higher self in a little better with your higher power that leads you as well. Fundamentally, that is a very, very big, very important thing.
So tapping into your higher power for your higher purpose, and then just keep going with that. I love it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for being here, being part of this journey, part of this book, and congratulations on finding your purpose. Like I said, I didn't find mine till around, age 55 or so. And so it's definitely been a journey. And once we find it, my belief is that it's our job and duty to live the rest of our life on purpose rather than on accident. So with that said, again, go get your copy of Finding Your Purpose at actiontakerspublishing.com/purpose. There's a bunch of free gifts over there for you to get as well. And looking forward to, Niki, just continuing to get to know you a little bit more. And we're going to be working on a book together as well. And that's going to be exciting. We don't have any details put together yet, but we're going to be working on something. I really look forward to working with you on that. So we won't spill the beans yet, not till we're ready.
No telling, no telling.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being here, being part of this journey with us at Action Takers Publishing. Truly appreciate you.
Thanks, Linda.
One of the things that I've personally found from my experience of working with Action Takers Publishing is that I've walked away with more friends than I had before because of the relationship that you build with the authors while working in an anthology. I think it's an amazing project to be able to get published. It's a fantastic way to get published the first time, and I've almost seen people who get hooked on doing anthologies because once that bug is bitten, you feel like you can release more and more and more and more stories, and Linda's got a bunch of titles that I think resonates with a lot of us who live in the real world.